Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering book writing for beginners. I was a book writing beginner once too. I guess every author is. But now that I've written or ghostwritten 30 books, I definitely have some tips I'd love to share with you. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to pick the right book subject, some important tips on getting the writing done, and why you shouldn't ever cut corners. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. Book writing is a struggle and it is a challenge, but it's definitely doable. And that's why I think you're probably watching this video. You're probably in the space of, can I do this? You can do it. It's possible. It's so empowering to be able to bring a story forward, to tell a story in book form, and to be able to hold it at the end of the day and give it to somebody. To know the toil and the effort and the struggle that went into it. It's an awesome feeling. It's something special and something that you should hold dear. The most important thing when you think about writing a book and getting started with it is picking a topic that intrigues you, that motivates you, that inspires you. This really needs to tap into some deeper purpose for yourself, because unless you have a purpose and a reason for wanting to write this book, you're going to want to give up. You know, think about the hardest things you've done in your life. They're typically for other people or for some deeper meaning. You know, I don't know, education for a long time because you want to get a certain career. You study and study and study. You work really hard to save up money to buy a house. Whatever the case may be, and no matter how hard something is, if the purpose is big enough, you'll keep going. You'll keep pushing through even though you don't want to. Even though you don't want to do the thing today, you're going to be driven and motivated to do the thing today. That's what this is really all about. Picking a topic that resonates, picking a topic that you're going to want to spend some time with, and picking a topic that you'll be potentially connected to for years to come. That's a powerful thing. So take the time to make the right choice, because making that right choice is going to be the difference between maybe finishing this book or definitely not finishing this book. So often when people start writing a book, they just sit down and start writing. And it's just word vomit on a page, and there's no aim, there's no focus, there's no reason, it's just writing. I don't write that way. And people do, and I'm not saying you can't do it, but it gets more complicated, especially if you're just in the early going with book writing and you're really kind of struggling with it. It's smart to do book foundation work, especially if you're just getting started with book writing and you still are finding your way. It makes a lot of sense to focus on book foundation work, your hook, your audience, your outline. Locking those things in is going to make the writing process easier. When you think about book hook, what is the reader takeaway and how are they going to carry this message forward with them? This should be a 1 to 2 sentence message. This shouldn't be any longer than that. If you think your book hook is longer than 2 sentences, you need to go back and tighten it up and shorten it. It needs to be really succinct and really clear. Audience. Who is your audience? Who's going to read this book? And not everybody. Please don't say everybody. No book is for everybody. If a book is for everybody, it's for nobody. You know, you think about a child's book and an adult's book on the same topic, how different they are. The topics and themes covered. There's never a book that's for everybody, and that's okay. That's how it should be. You want to burrow down on your audience as deep as it can go. You know, if it's, you know, cross-country runners from the state of Ohio, great. That's a good target audience. You know, if you're thinking about it in terms of all sports fans, that's pretty wide. You know, there's probably not a lot of sports topics that most sports fans are going to be interested in. Even if they're interested in a lot of things, it's never for everybody. And that's okay. You actually want to figure out who your book is for and who your book is not for. It can make it a lot stronger. And I actually, a lot of times will include that in the introduction just to let the reader know. Hey, if you're interested in X, Y, and Z, keep reading. If you're not interested in those things, book probably isn't for you. You don't have to waste your time. Narrow down on who your audience really is. Book outline. Outlining is huge. A lot of people just start writing and just put words out there and see what happens. I think it's a lot smarter, and the way that I approach it from my 30 books that I've written or ghostwritten is figuring out the project, mapping out the project from beginning to end. You know, what is the reader journey? What are the things that we want to include? What's inside and outside of the frame of the book? If you can include and figure out those things, you're going to be more empowered in the writing process to write the things that are in the book. instead of wondering, oh, I wonder if this is going to be included, or wasting your time on things that aren't in the book in the end. If you do all this writing and then figure out months later that none of this stuff is going to be used, you could have wasted all that effort, all that effort. This process, these steps that I'm laying out for you, they're really about focus. They're really about figuring out what you're doing and making the most of your time. They can be boring and they can be mundane and they can be simple. But doing those things is going to make the whole process easier for you. These are things that are going to sharpen your book, sharpen your message, sharpen your marketing. All these things are going to help the writing process. So think deeply about this stuff. Book writing seems like a giant thing, but it's really about a lot of good little decisions. It's about good habits. It's about making good habits again and again and again, and choosing to devote your attention in the right way. It's about filling in gaps. It's about making progress little by little, day by day, week by week. If you're thinking about writing a book, think about the word count. Think about the total word count, and then break it down. How many words do you want to write every day or every week? How can you cut out distractions that take away your energy and your focus so you can stay focused in the writing process? If you can stay focused in writing and you can focus here and focus here and focus here and make consistent progress, you'll get to the finish line. But you need to be able to focus and you need to be able to stay committed to the project day by day and week by week. By building those good habits, you're going to want to keep showing up and you're going to see the progress. You're going to see the momentum building. You're going to see this thing going in the right direction. You're going to want to keep going with it. It's so easy in this day and age to write a book with ChatGPT and other AI tools. And AI tools can be super useful. I use them all the time in organizing, in summarizing, in giving me ideas. I can even use it for outlining. It's amazing to see what AI tools can do for outlining today. But in terms of the actual book itself, I want you to think about yourself. I want you to think about doing the work on you, doing this writing. Don't settle for using AI to write your book. And here's why. Your book is uniquely yours like a fingerprint. Your book is yours. The things that make it special and different are your voice, your perspectives, your messages, and all of the uniqueness that you're bringing to the book. When you write your book with AI, you're sanding down all of that stuff, and now you're relying on the collective words of the universe. You're basically saying, I would rather sound like everybody else than be unique. That's what you're giving away. I get it. I get the allure. It's easy to want to write a book with AI tools because it sounds like everybody else's. But by sounding like everybody else's book, you're writing a book that is ultimately not very readable. It's so bland and boring because it says things that have already been said before in ways that it's already been said. You want to write something different. You want to stand out. Be different. Be unique. Make sure that your book is unique. Put your uniqueness into your book. Those are the things that are going to resonate. If you try to write a book that sounds like everybody else's, it's going to fall flat and it's going to be boring. That message kind of carries forward for the rest of the book too. When you finish your draft, and finishing a draft, your first draft is going to be dirty. Your first draft is going to be imperfect. You're going to have to spend some time getting it right. As you move forward from the writing to the editing, there's this urge to want to rush ahead, to want to just jump to the next thing, to finish, to get it published. Spend the time. Work with high quality editors. Work with professionals who know what they're doing because they're going to help you take your book to the next level. They're going to help you uncover new potential within your book that you haven't uncovered for yourself. How does your book fit within your wider funnel, your sales goals, your platform goals? The purpose thing that we talked about earlier, how does your book help you get there? Working with high quality editors is going to help you get closer and closer to your goals and give you more and more success. If you cut corners and try to save costs and don't work with as experienced editors and professionals, you're going to wind up with a book product that isn't as good as you want it to be, and that's not going to have the outcomes. Think about if you don't work with a high quality copy editor and they have left errors and typos and style issues in your book. Now people who read it are going to recognize that you missed the spot. You know, this thing is not as clean as it should be. You know, it's a reflection poorly on you, and it's a shame. When you were so close, you were on the 5-yard line, you couldn't punch it in. You know, that's a problem. You want this book to be as powerful as possible, and you want to spend the time to get it right. Even if it takes a little bit longer, even if it costs a little bit more money, you want to make sure to get it right. If you want to learn more about book writing for beginners, I'd love for you to check out an accountability course that I created for other writers. We meet weekly, we talk about our progress, the challenges we're facing, we cover interesting book topics that are beneficial and helpful. You can check out the course at goodbookmastery.com. You can click the link below, and love to see you in the course. Would love to share more insights about the book writing and publishing process. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.